Melissa, it looks like you're sitting inside your gym. Tell
I
us
am,
about where you are and why you're there.
So it's kind of a weird transitional period as far as our gym goes. I'm from a small town in Alberta, Canada. It's called Crow's Nest Pass. It's a little mountain town in the Rockies. And our gym, we're actually closing it down, and we're going to still continue to have a gym. We're just moving to a smaller location. So that is kind of a weird thing to have to deal with during a camp, but camps always come with challenges such as this one. So it's really just, to me, another thing to overcome and another thing to, I don't, I just always have to stay focused if there's a fight coming up. So yeah, that's where we're at right now. We still have the gym until after the fight, but after that we'll be moving to our new location and all that. So it's kind of bittersweet in a way.
The new location. Do you like the new location?
Yeah, it's still in our town,
Hmm.
but it's gonna be smaller. Still have all the equipment we need and everything. So yeah, I'm excited about it.
All right, good, good. Well, at least you have to move after your fight. Not in the middle of it, which would be
Yeah,
terrible, right?
that would
All right.
that would not be a
Yeah,
great time.
yeah,
Yeah.
not so good. So you got a main event coming up, right?
Yes.
And what are the emotions leading into this? Because this is for our title.
It's been, of course, a roller coaster of emotions. I believe I'm on my 8th opponent offer. So it's been rough having to reassess constantly and like come up with new things to focus on during my training sessions. So my coaches have done a really good job at kind of reevaluating and adapting on the fly as to what we should be focusing on. So we've had a few game plans based on who it is that has been presented to us. So as of right now, I don't actually have a contract signed. I'm hoping to get some updates today and have some contracts sent to me. So that's just the name of the game, especially in my weight class. 135 is kind of it's like an in between class. Like I've always found the 115ers and 125ers have always had an easier time of finding people.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong, but that's just how it seems from my perspective. So it's good. It's good to just kind of practice patience in that regard and try to just maintain, again, like focus on the goal. Like,
Mhm.
does at this point in my career, I'm trying to adopt that attitude where I feel that I can beat anybody that's put in front of me within reason. But I'm really trying to like go more towards that warrior mentality where it's like I'll take a battle when it's presented, if that makes any sense. So that was like a new mindset for me because usually, especially like in my amateur career, and I'm sure lots of MMA athletes can kind of attest to being a little bit more strategic as far as who they fight. You want like a challenge, but you don't want to fight someone with a substantial amount of experience compared to you. Like usually want it pretty evenly matched, so that you can have a chance to be successful. But at this stage, I'm kind of trying to switch my mind and just basically say, okay, give me whoever you've got. So that's kind of new for me because yeah, it's hard because there's an unknown factor, and MMA is already so chaotic. It's just kind of piling more chaos onto everything, but it's been interesting in my brain.
Yeah, yeah. Just from the first two things, you're in the transitional phase with the gym, in the middle of a camp, and then now you got 8 opponent changes.
Yeah,
8 opponent changes. Why are they not wanting to fight? Like they
I have
have
no
people, so
idea.
it looks like.
I haven't been given an answer as to why. It could be any number of things. Um, I try my best not to ask because really it's not my business. I mean, it could be visa issues since a lot of them have been international fighters. Could be injury. It could be, you know, who knows?
Mhm.
Doesn't really matter. I mean, once my manager tells me, oh, this person's out, I try not to overthink it and just say, okay, next.
Yeah, definitely,
Yeah,
definitely. You get to a point where you just kind of let it go and go
yeah,
with the flow, I guess, right? Um,
exactly. Yeah,
your last fight, right? You returned at the inaugural show earlier this year and
yeah.
got a first round finish. How did you feel in that fight? Did you feel any ring rust or anything like that, or did you just feel like you're at home and everything was going according to plan?
No, I didn't feel any ring rust for that one, although it had been a while since almost a year since I had fought in between, just because of the circumstances of the world, COVID and all that.
Yeah.
Um, but I felt really good in that one because I was kind of out to redeem myself and get myself back into the winning column. So I'm trying to bring that hunger of redemption into this camp as well, um, with a little bit more on the line, being that I accepted a title fight. So obviously it means a lot. Like to me, this fight, like I don't know who is gonna be, but it does mean a lot. This win, I love winning. So it's always like the cherry on top. And I really would like to have a challenge in there. I'm not saying that I haven't been challenged, but it would be nice to feel a little bit of fear going
Mhm.
in there, like a little bit more fear every time to overcome, because it's always that much sweeter on the other side once you get over that hill, right? So my last fight, I felt good. I felt afraid. I felt like I had a lot to lose. So in my mind, I did. So it was good. It was a good win.
You mentioned, you were almost out for a year, and before that, the fight before that, you lost by split decision, right? Your first career loss. How did that impact you? How did that affect you?
It felt terrible, obviously, because especially with a split decision, it's like as someone who, um, you know, deals with controlled violence on a regular basis, it becomes kind of normal. I don't feel like I really went out on my shield. I didn't do everything that I could have done to secure a win or to finish her, because I usually finish my fights. It's to me, my coach Dan Miller has always said, like, if you don't finish a fight, nobody won. If it goes through decision, there is no win there, because it's just you in some way or another. There was almost like like you played it safe in a way, or somebody played it safe, or if that makes sense. But yeah, um, yeah, it's also a good thing for people to lose, because it's a it's a good humbling experience. Sometimes you gotta get slapped in the face a little bit to wake up and be like, oh, I need to change. I need to adapt. I need to change something that I'm doing, because obviously, if you didn't get the result that you were aiming for, then you failed. So it's really important to experience that type of situation so that you can kind of push boundaries continuously. How high can you fail, right?
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Now going back to this fight coming up, I saw that you had. I heard a rumor about a one certain opponent, and then there's on Tapology it says that you're gonna fight this woman, Bunmi OJ War. I think that's
That
her
was the
name.
first offer. Yeah.
That was the first offer. So okay, seven other fighters have passed. Okay, so this one is definitely not your opponent, but hopefully, fingers crossed that someone is stepping uh across from you in that
Yeah.
cage for there's a title up for grabs. Like, why wouldn't people be jumping on it like a? I guess they think it's a grenade. I don't know this matchup.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's very odd, right?
Yeah.
Um,
It's a weird situation to be in. It's got to be some kind of a record.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is. And, just going back, rewinding again, during that time where you had about 11 months between fights, what did you focus on? Was there a period where you didn't train, or was it a period of just, focusing on one aspect of your game? What did you during that time?
I don't think there's ever really been a time where haven't, like, I've never not trained. I've always been training, in between. But the way that we train is like really detail oriented, kind of. A lot of it is more of like sharpening your cognition as an athlete, because we don't like smash a whole lot of pads and like grunt around and that kind of stuff. Like it's really, really methodical, and working like small details that a lot of people probably wouldn't notice. Like for example, there's this one kick that I've been learning, and it's taken me like over a year to actually do in sparring. And I'm pretty sure it's not because I'm a terrible athlete, but or I don't think I'm a terrible student. Sometimes I can be, but it took me a really, really long time to learn. Is my point, and it's because there were so many like fine things to the specific kick to learn, and it's just kind of weird and awkward, and a lot of people, even when I've done it in sparring, are kind of like, oh, how did you do that? And I'm like, I don't even know how to explain it, honestly. So working on things like that, like refining weapons basically, and
Yeah.
making sure that we actually have weapons. It's not just playing patty cake. Like we have capability of like to do damage, not just win by points.
Yeah, fighters do like techniques and moves so gracefully that fans forget how intricate the techniques are. You know what I mean? How much practice those techniques take to
Yeah.
just do it properly without an opponent, without somebody standing in front of you, and then to have to do it, being able to do it against your opponent and execute it, and maybe even get a finish from it, is probably one of the best
Yeah.
feelings ever.
Yeah. When your training comes out in that flow state, it is the best thing. So I'm always chasing that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's incredible to watch as a spectator as well. So in this fight, it doesn't matter who steps in across from you. It could be Amanda Nunez, right? You're gonna go in there. What are you gonna do?
What's my game plan?
Not a game plan,
Um,
but just like what's your vision of like how you want to finish this fight, or control the fight, or how it plays out.
it's hard to. I always imagine multiple um, ways that a fight could go. I don't generally focus on one specific thing. I always, when my mind kind of wanders and uh, I start to think about a fight that's coming up, I think of micro situations, and then possibly something not going well, and then the result being that I'm successful in that situation. So if it's like, oh, I'm imagining, oh, what if she takes my back and is attempting like a rear naked choke or whatever? And I'm like thinking, going through my head, visualizing how that defense works, and then being successful in the defense of that. So I'm always imagining a lot of defensive things, as well as, oh, what if I finish her this way, that way. So it's more like your mind kind of wanders off into all these possibilities. For me, it's never one specific, like, I'm gonna highlight real TKO this person in this exact fashion, because I know that's not realistic, because it's just chaos. Most of the time things don't go your way in a fight, and then I don't know, the finishes just kind of happen on their own in a strange way as a result of all of the chaos. um, so yeah, I just kind of daydream about the possibilities, and just success in all situations, so that I've kind of played them out in my mind before the day. Because your brain is pretty powerful that way. That's why visualization is a pretty powerful tool for fighters. So even if you're like driving, like you can pretty much do it anywhere. You don't have to sit in a quiet space, with your legs crossed, kind of thing. It doesn't have to be some intensive ritual. You can do it while you're driving, or doing the dishes and just being able to practice that, I think, is a very handy thing to learn how to do, or at least get into the habit of. So yeah, that's kind of my thought process on how a fight could go, or like what my plan is, I guess.
What is the plans for the rest of the year? Let's say you get this fight in, you're healthy. Do you want to fight maybe 2 times more? I don't know.
Yeah, I would say a couple more times and then see where that goes. Hopefully, get onto some larger promotions, but again, I have to get a fight in order to do that. So one step at a time, right? I'm just kind of taking it day by day at this point. With that plan in mind. That's kind of always been the plan for me. So hopefully we'll be able to execute that.
For sure. August 27th, PAWFC 2, the main event. You will be in the main event. Someone else will be across from you, and you guys will be fighting for a title. All the best to you, Melissa. Thank you so much for the time.
Thank you so much.